Hi, everybody. Welcome to my talk. My name is Stella Chan. I'm a program manager at Microsoft, working at the reporting services team. I'll be talking to you about developing rich reporting solutions with SQL Server 2008 R2 with some of the new features that we have added that will help your productivity. But first of all, let me give a brief self-introduction of who I am. I started at Microsoft about 12 years ago. I spent 9 out of the last 12 years working on building business intelligence solutions. Some of the products that I work on included SQL 2000 data mining engine. I was a developer on that project. And I have also worked on the performance point server. And I've been with the reporting services teams for about 2 years. And prior to that, I also have worked on a web analytics reporting solution when I was at a startup company called Digimine. And the remaining 3 years of my career was spent on building unified communication solutions. And one of the devices that you might know of that was developed by Microsoft was called the Microsoft Roundtable device. I was the program manager on that one. It's the 360-degree panorama conferencing device that lets people have teleconference with people at remote locations. So just very brief history. And prior to Microsoft, I had a background in theoretical physics. And so dealing with a lot of numbers, doing data visualization and reporting and coding is very close to my own heart. And I've been coding since I was 11 years old. So enough about myself. Let's skip into about why do we care about SQL Server reporting services 2008 R2. There are some cool features that we have added in the report creation space. And in particular, we have added report componentization and shared data set. And we have also added some new data visualizations, which I will be doing some demos on that. And we have added connectivity to SharePoint lists as a data source that has first-class support from Report Builder. And the other thing is we have improved our self-service, I would say, reporting solution by having first-class SharePoint 2010 integration. And on the report delivery side, we have made some rendering enhancements. And we have improve our cross-browser support, as many of you know, previously in previous version, we are pretty much an IE-only solution, and we have done some work there, which I would like to go over in detail. And then, of course, since I used to be a developer, I would like to talk about the Visual Studio 2010 report viewer controls, and I'll be writing some code when I'm at that portion of my talk. So some of the key things about building reporting is there are actually many things that we need to deal with. And this is why I would say that people care about, developers should care about reporting services. Is I've built custom reporting solutions before, and we have to deal with a lot of the challenges. For example, the data is usually at many different places, and connectivity is an issue. And also, whenever I develop a report, then my customers will be asking me to basically render it to different formats. And also, with custom tools, the learning curve for the information worker is very high, and people would like to have some standard tools. And in general, the report development process, if I have, as a developer, before I have to develop a report for, let's say, a business user, the process itself can be pretty complicated because they could keep on changing their mind about what they want to see in the reports. I have to go back to my code and keep on changing it. So what I think, as Microsoft, we would like to help all of the business intelligence developers to tackle some of those issues. And well, in general, the typical report lifecycle, first, somebody needs to author the report. And since the information worker, they are the decision maker, we would like to place as much of the report authoring in their hands so that they can actually, they would be able to create reports that they would like to see, and that can gain them insights. And the second thing is, once they have created a report, is, well, I need to be able to manage it and share it with my other colleagues. And so management is a big deal. And having a scalable server-based solution helps to let users collaborate on the reports and be able to share insights. And The other thing is delivery is actually a very key part of reporting solution because we need to be able to view the data in multiple formats and be able to get it on time. So that's the third tenet that is usually very key to basically in a reporting solution. So what can we do to help? In reporting services, for the report authors, we offer many rich type of data visualizations. And what it means is that the end user, the information worker, they can use our tool to create any of these visualizations that's here. Some of them are pretty cool. We support a very, I would say, very strong charting engine. And we also support KPI-like visualizations, such as the gauges that you see down below, as well as in our tool, we have added support for mapping. And what it means is that you can actually integrate data with geographical locations into your business intelligence solution. And we have also improved our usability to create Excel-like KPIs, indicator, data bar, or sparkline kind of visualization. Well, another cool thing about reporting services is that our table is actually pretty flexible. So you can start out with just a good old table, and then we can mix in some pivoted column groups in here. And you can also add some custom subtotals into the layout as well, and add some more static columns that are non-pivoted. So in SQL Server 2008, we introduced a concept called the tablets. And in previous release, we have a concept called table or matrix, and you can't really mix and match. And in 2008, we actually addressed this the scenario of people wanting to mix and match dynamic column groups and with static columns. And you can have sibling dynamic column groups together with static columns. And you can do the same thing with rows as well. So it's much more flexible. And so we will empower the end user using a report builder tool that we ship to be able to create all these rich reports. And the next thing that I want to talk about is in 2008, we have actually improved our reporting server. A few things is our processing engine has become much more scalable. We have done on-demand report processing. In 2005, our engine will process basically all the pages before we return page one. But in 2008, we'll do the data query to make sure that you have a consistent view of the data. And then we will only process the grouping and the calculation for page one, and then we give you back page one. What it means is that if you have a 500-page report, we don't, if you only want to view the first few pages, so we only do the calculation and processing for the first few pages only. And as a result, it improved the scalability on the servers drastically. And the other thing is we have simplified the deployment process. We have removed the IIS dependency in SQL Server 2008. And that means, well, setting a reporting service has become much easier because one of the previous issues is lots of IT pros, they run into challenges regarding configuration of IIS when they are setting a reporting services. So we have addressed that. And we also support central deployment to SharePoint or to native mode, which is the SharePoint-less mode. And of course, on the server, we support report scheduling and subscription to reports and schedule delivery. And we handle snapshots and caching. And of course, we have an extensible security model to let you plug in non-Windows authentication methods. The next one is we actually did a lot regarding helping delivering the reports in many different formats. One of the challenges that personally I faced myself when I was in my development days is, well, OK, fine. I build my reports in ASP.NET, and then my user will be like, OK, can you give me a print format so that I can print the report? And so I'll go out there, write a printable format, and they can print. And the next thing they ask will be, OK, can I do PDF? And soon enough, they will be asking for other formats like PowerPoint, Word, Excel. The list goes on forever. So the good thing about using reporting services as part of your reporting solution is that, well, we support many of the renderers out of the box. Okay, we can, as I talked about report builder before, of course we can build reports and view it inside, but there are other formats. We render to HTML using well, we have an ASP.NET control that lets you view the reports, and so there is zero footprint client installation needed for that. And then the next thing is we also render to Microsoft Word starting in SQL Server 2008. And of course, usually we do Excel, because that's what customer asks. And then PDF is another format that people ask for a lot. And of course, we also support CSV, because like many people want to export the report to CSV so then they can import it to other systems. And we support XML, basically exports as well, and TIFF. And in this release, we have added support for rendering to Atom. As I've talked about, like you can view the reports in your browser without installing anything on the client. I'm just using the browser without installing anything additional on the client, using the report server URL. And you can also view and manage your reports inside Report Manager. And if you want to use SharePoint integrated mode, you can actually view your report within SharePoint, both on the in the full page view as a report, or using it as different web paths on an existing SharePoint page. And the last thing is very close to my heart. The WinForms and ASP.NET report viewer control that we ship in Visual Studio. And yes?
Are these controls available in, like, are these run in Visual Studio 2008 in local reports as well?
So the question is, are these controls available in Visual Studio 2008 in local reports as well? So first of all, we have shipped the WinForms and ASP.NET report viewer control in Visual Studio 2005 and 2008. And in local mode, in those two releases, the local mode engine support RDL 2005 format. And in the next release, meaning Visual Studio 2010, we have shipped we will be shipping, and it's already in beta, the Windows Form and ASP.NET Ajax report viewer control. And in local mode, that will support RDL 2008 format. So the question is, does it work in Visual Studio 2008? There are two components, two main pieces that we ship in Visual Studio. There is the design time component and the runtime component. The runtime component actually we build it in such a way that it can be used in Visual Studio 2008 as well, because it only has a .NET Framework 3.5 SP1 dependency because of the Ajax, and it does not. It can also work with .NET Framework 4.0, but as a result, the runtime actually works inside Visual Studio 2008. What you don't have will be the integration regarding the design time integration that we will be doing in Visual Studio 2010. Yeah. So, well, we know about what's there. I want to basically drill into some of the key features that's new in 2008 R2. And let's start with authoring. So first thing is we have actually implemented something, because like in previous releases, like if I have a report that has, like, let's say a chart, a table, and maybe a few other gadgets on it, and if somebody else look at my report and like it, and they will have to basically make a copy of my reports and then like start like basically create a separate copy of my reports. And when I change my charts, they don't basically pick up my changes. And in R2, we actually allow the report author to publish like different parts of their reports as report components to the server. And what it means to the user is they can actually take existing report parts and mix and match, grab and go, and put it on their reports. And the cool thing is, if the original author of the report parts updated their parts, let's say I updated my charts from a line chart to a pie chart, well, basically the dependent reports will get an update and say, hey, do you want to pick up the new version of the report parts or not? And it's not just about like visualization or report item that we can share. We can also share data sets. And what it means is if somebody who's really good at, let's say, SQL spatial queries, they wrote a query to query this SQL spatial database, and they publish it as a shared data set on the server. I can also use the same query in my report to create my own visualization. So as I've talked about, well, the shared data set, so as many of us, like we don't like to write SQL query, and then like if somebody else who's really skilled at it, like wrote a query, they can share it. And what else can I do to it? I can actually pass additional parameters to it, and I can add my own filters and calculation. And the other cool thing about shared data sets is that the query results is actually cached. It can be cached on the server, and as a result, if it is a data set that's used by many people, like everybody get the fast execution. And for long-running queries, this will be really helpful to speed up the performance. And this is a mock-up, basically a screenshot of what the report component look like. And I will be demoing a little bit later in one of the demos that I'll be doing. All right, the next thing is we have done quite a bit of work in the data visualization space. In SSRS 2005, we have charts only. And in 2008, we have improved our chart offering by having multiple chart areas, multiple assets, calculated series, by basically implementing the Dundas charting engine into our product. And we've also added the gauge control into as a report item in 2008. In this release, we have added the map as well as sparkline data bar and indicator. So let's start with sparklines and data bar. So sparklines, they are very condensed. Like I would say, I would call them mini charts. They're really just like bite-sized graphics. And you can kind of do it in SQL Server 2008 by putting a chart inside like a tablet and then like starting removing the SEs as well as the title and legend. You can do it, however, like you have to be pretty determined to make sure that you handle the empty data points as well as aligning the SEs properly for the sparklines to show up like aligned and looking very nice and flush on your table. So when we implement the sparkline in R2, we make the authoring experience for sparkline a lot easier. You don't need to remove the SEs. You don't need to like handle your own empty data point scenarios, and we do the automatic SEs alignment. The next thing is data bar. A data bar is really just a bar chart, and it shows a single value in a cell. You could do it before in R2, but again, like we actually added like a min and max automatic calculation, but they are also configurable if you want to override those defaults. And the other thing that we have done is, as you know, in Excel, they have KPIs and those nice indicators, and the traffic lights. In the previous release, like we can also do that if you get your own images and be able to do like basically conditional formatting and trying to show your own icons. We have actually added like basically a list of commonly used icon sets, Excel-like icon sets by default, and you can easily add that to your report to show some KPIs. And the cool thing is, if you don't like the ones that we provided, you can always do your own. So I would like to, next thing is I would actually want to do a demo of like creating a report that will use some of the new data visualization, and with the SharePoint list as a data source. All right, what you see here is a SharePoint site UI inside Internet Explorer. And we have created the SharePoint sites ahead of time, and we have some report that's in there already. And in particular, somebody has entered a list of Contoso competitors' sales figure in the SharePoint list. And well, you would like to be able to visualize that. And I have created a pre-canned report before on this. I can click on it and view it inside SharePoint. So in this report, there is some nice indicator, the data bar, as well as the sparkline. The thing is, what I'm going to do next is actually to be able to create this report right in front of you really quickly. So you know what it's supposed to look like. All right, so let me create this report. And so I have pre-launch, let's say, I have pre-launched Report Builder 3.0. Oops. This is Report Builder 3.0. Let's say I want to create a new report. And I can choose the different wizards that is available in our basically getting started experience. You can choose to create a table, a chart, a map, or just a blank report. Since that report is mainly consisting of the tabulated data, I would choose the table or matrix wizard first. And then I want to create a data set. And well, I don't want to use the existing one because I want to use SharePoint list as my data source in this case. So the data source property dialog box pop up, and in the select connection type, there is the Microsoft SharePoint list. I select that, and then I can type in the basically server name to connect to it. Let's see. Oops. I want to zoom up. Oops, I think I clicked something wrong with Zoom. Just sorry. I think I just crashed Zoom. Sorry, yep. Control 1. I need to kill Zoom first. I'm sorry. I think I just crashed it. I will have to restart the demo just a second. I lost my mouse. Can you help me? Yes. Oops. At the, OK. Left to the slider. Yeah. Nope. Yes, I need to kill Zoom, but all right, Control Alt N. I need to start Task Manager. I kill Zoom first, and I'm sorry, but yes, I will try to get this back on track. Yep. Let me end the process. Yeah, I got stuck in the live zooming mode. I couldn't get out of it for some reason. I keep on pressing Control 4. Yes. Yep, that's one. Thank you. Yep. OK, let me just use Control 1 from now on. I will want to launch that. Thank you for your patience. let me get back to creating that again. OK, new report. And as I've done before, I basically choose the SharePoint list. And then I type in the connection string. Now it's PDC, VM01. And then I need to go change the credential to make sure that I use the Windows authentication, because that's what my server does. I change the tab to the credential tab, and then make sure that I choose the use current Windows users, and then hit OK. And as I told you before, there is somebody who created a Contaso competitor sales SharePoint list. I can choose that list, or I can choose all the fields, or I can just select some of the fields that I care about. I care about the title of the company, the fiscal year, and the sales figure. Then I can hit next. And then I put title in the row group, and then the sales figure in values. And then the wizard will let me choose whether or not I can add subtotals and total. In this case, I just have one total. And then the next thing is I can actually choose the style of the table. And well, since I'm a very passionate person, let me choose something that's red. And then, so I get a table right away, and then I can hit F5 to run the reports and preview it to see if I'm getting the right data. Cool, so it looks right, and I need to actually format the data a little bit. Just the sales value, I want to make it a currency. And then I don't care about the decimal numbers. So I can actually do some formatting within the ribbon really easily. And if the next thing that I want to do is actually I want to show the values in thousands instead. Okay, and then I can just pop up the taskbar property dialog box using a shortcut that's right here. Let me zoom that. By clicking the corner there, and then come up. And it will pop up the dialog box, and I can just say, show values in 1,000. You can copy and paste, yes. Well, formats, if you copy and paste, you can you copy the format as well.
Just the format, not the value. Like in Excel, you do, right? Copy the format of cell and paste it for the cell.
OK, so the question is whether or not we can copy a format from one cell to the other. I think our user interface experience is different from Excel, so we don't support the Excel-like one. But we can, if you have a value that's bounded and try to copy, you can copy the format with a value in it to another cell and then change the value. So, yes. So essentially, the gentleman would like to see us address some of the Excel-like kind of formatting scenario. It's not in the current version, but it's something that we are actively looking into. Yes. All right. So next thing is OK, so let me preview again. Cool. I got all the currency format in the report. And the next thing I want to do is add the indicator that you have seen in the finished product that I showed earlier on. I want to add an indicator, and then I want to add a data bar. So easily, I can just say, click on here and say insert column to the left. And then I would like to insert the indicator, which is right basically on the ribbon as well. And I want to drag and drop this into this cell. Whoops. And I need to bind it to a value. And I would like to pick the sales value. And the next thing that I would like to do is to add the data bar. So again, I need to add a column to the left. Okay, and then again, the data bar is up there in the ribbon. And again, I need to bind it to a value. And let's say cells again, just because I am boring. And the other thing that I would like to do is I would like to add some gradient effect to there. And I can actually pop up the dialog box right from within the task pane. And I can choose to change the field to gradient, and then like change the gradient to, well, let's pick one. And let's run the report. Yay! So easily, without doing much, it takes me shorter time to create all these than struggling with Zoom it. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add the sparkline, because like a sparkline is something that we've added. And so let's say I want to insert a column to the right-hand side. And click on the cell here. And again, sparkline is also right up there in the ribbon. I want to go. And I believe that I used this one before, which is a smooth area sparkline. And again, need to bind it. So I need to zoom in on this one after I do this. Yes, I will need to bind it to a field. Again, I need to bind it to cells, but I need to show it over a period of time. So let me choose the value first. And then the next thing that I want to do is to actually change the category group so that it shows over the trending over the last few fiscal years. And what happens here is I can actually choose it using the smart tag right there and choose it to be fiscal year. Again, I want to, I click on the value again because I want to change the gradient effect on the sparkline. And F5. Yay! So I created everything so quickly. And the next thing that I can do is I can add a title to this and say, well, I'm done with this report. Yes, and then I can save it to the server. And I want to override the existing one that's up there. You can just hit the save dialog, and it's actually connected to SharePoint. And you can configure your report builder to actually save your report back to the server. And let me save it. And yes, I want to override it. And then let me go back to the server. And OK, it said that well. I need to do a refresh. And then let's see if it picked up my change. Yay! All right. So as I've shown you, I've basically used Report Builder 3.0, used SharePoint List as a data source, because connectivity is a challenge for many of us developing reporting solutions. I've created a report using indicator data bars and sparklines in a very short amount of time, publish the report back to SharePoint, and review the report. Yay! The next thing that I want to do is map. I need to talk fast because I'm running behind, and the next gentleman wants me to finish on time. We have added mapping supports in SQL Server 2008 R2. And what it means is map, it contains a few things, like points. You can use like points to visualize cities, locations, or like a customer, or like let's say where the school is. And it can also show line, what we call paths actually, using the formal name. So you can show roads, routes, or like or using a line. The polygon is the other thing that we support, is I can show shapes on the map, meaning like you can use it to show states or countries. And in this release, we have also enhanced the map control to actually be able to talk to the Bing Maps to get tiles as backdrops for our report. And so we can use that to, and we also support actually shape files to support the, to define the shapes, and including points, lines, and polygons. And in addition to that, we support SQL spatial data types, geography, and geometry. And I will talk about the SQL spatial coolness a little bit later. And so typically, people will use like analytical data using size or color and to basically show on top of the map. And the other cool thing is we have built a wizard that allows you to build a map pretty easily, which I will try to do a very quick demo on that. All right, the next thing is, here's a typical map. It's the election map, actually, that happened last year. And the states that are colored in blue is and red according to which party won the election in that state. And the bubble denotes how many electoral votes there are in those states. So we can show like the value of your measures, your analytical data, using the color as well as the size of symbols as well as the color of the symbols. All right. This is a typical usage case of having SQL spatial integration. What you see here is a map that denotes all the schools that are within a certain radius from I-5 in the Washington state. The SQL spatial query that we have done is, first of all, we started with a path that's stored in a SQL spatial database that is called I-5. And we do an intersection of the I-5 path with the Washington shape. And then we ran a SQL spatial query to actually return the yellow area, meaning like a certain radius from I-5 that is in Washington state. And then we ran another query to say, OK, give me all the points that within that the yellow area, which is schools. And then we show it on top of as another layer on the map. And we have then the nice thing is we can add a Bing map tile to make it look all nicer, so that you see everything in perspective, in relative to the paths and shapes.
So is I-5 a collection of lines?
I-5 is a path.
Is a path?
Yes.
That's a collection of lines or points?
It's a line, yes. It's a line. It's a collection of lines that define a path, yes. Another thing that's of interest is it's not just about geography. You can also do geometry shape that's in SQL spatial. The coolness is this is actually our building floor map in Building 34 where we work. And the color, it means how many years have you been at Microsoft. So as you can see, the people who hasn't been with Microsoft that long are actually on the inside office. And actually, the inside joke is this map was built to convince Alex Gorev, one of our developers, why he has an inside office, and nobody is just skipping ahead of him to get an outside office. Many of you have met Alex at the last PDC, so that was the inside joke. Some miscellaneous enhancement that we have done on the report authoring. As part of the map improvement, because usually people store SQL spatial data sets and their analytical data sets in two different places. So we have implemented some lookup functions to let people join two data sets together inside a report. And if you're interested in finding out about the details of that, try our hands-on lab. It has basically some examples of that. The other thing is we have implemented read and write report variables that let you basically implement something like the interlace row in Excel much easier. I could do it before using custom code, but it doesn't quite look right. But it's much easier now. And we have also added like better page naming and using new variables so that you can have finer control over how you number the pages. And another cool thing is we have added support for the 260 degrees or vertical text. You can rotate the text by 90 degrees or 270 degrees. And expression-based page breaks. So let me create a map quickly. So again, I would like to launch Report Builder 3.0, and then I need to create a new report. And this time, I'm using the map wizard. Okay, oops, I just crashed it. Let me launch it again. It's the wrath of the demo god. Yes. All right. So what you see here is actually the first step of the map wizard. You can choose the different shape files that you can get, you can use. You can use the map gallery that we ship out of the box, or you can use S3 shape files and we let you be able to load it from your file system, or you can use a SQL spatial query. Let me be really boring, just use the map gallery that we ship with. And there are multiple ones of those, different look and feel of how the United States is shaped. Let me use the insets one because I like Alaska. Be scaled and moved to a different place. And then basically, and then in this screen, you can actually move the map a little bit around, tweak it for your own liking. And then let me just do a basic, maybe a color analytical map. And then the next thing is I can choose the analytical data set to bind to that. I want to be able to, I need to connect to a new data source. And in this case, it is a SQL server data source. And I want to, I love this connection property dialog, because I can never write a connection string myself. And I wanted to just talk to the map demo database. And hit OK. And the next thing is, I'm allowed to design a query. And let's say I want to create, let's say, cells. Just state name, the state abbreviation, and the purchase. And yeah, I can match it better using the abbreviation, but let me join the two data sets together using the state name. Is not too fast, but it's for demo purposes, this is OK. And then I want to make sure that I decide which field that I want to show. Can choose it to be the number of purchases that's made in that state instead of like the number of state representatives there are. And I want it light to dark because, well, light is fewer and dark is more intense. And I can choose to display labels or, yep. And then hit finish and run it. Yay! So another thing that I've shown you earlier is the this report. Let me find it on the portal. Let me go back to SharePoint. And there's the Seattle School report, the one that has the nice Bing map as a backdrop, like and I5 using SQL spatial queries to query schools that are within a certain radius from I5. And just to show you that actually it wasn't a mock-up, I changed the radius from 2 kilometers to 5 kilometers and apply it. And what it's doing right now is doing all those SQL spatial query and recalculating the bounding shape of 5 kilometers around I-5, and then also finding out the schools that's there. Yay, so it actually works. Okay, so this gets better because I'm not an expert in writing SQL spatial queries. And my esteemed colleague has actually, he was very nice that he actually publishes all the gadgets of the previous reports into report paths. There is basically the number of schools, the radius as a parameter, the Seattle attraction, and also the Seattle school map as report paths into the report components that we talked about earlier. And what I'm going to do next is I want to basically create that report by using those, create a report that uses those report paths. All right, so I would like to start with a blank report in this case. And yay, I want to insert that map. And then what I can do is I can make sure that I go to a View tab and choose the report path gallery. So I can connect to a server, because we can connect to the report path gallery inside Report Builder. This is not a feature that's available in the Visual Studio Designer. The Business Intelligence Development Studio has a report designer. It doesn't have this functionality. I just want to call it out. So, and then after it connects to the server, I want to search for shapes. And let's say I like that map a lot. I drag it onto my design surface. And then let me also drag the parameter on it, because I actually do need a parameter. I think I drag it on, and F5. So I recreated that map without doing anything. Or very little. Yay! So we have talked about what's cool in the authoring side. I want to touch base on a little bit on the manageability side. As you have, so basically, let me bore you a little bit with the Microsoft BI burger a little bit. So reporting services is part of the data infrastructure. We have the relational data store. We have analysis services, integration services, reporting services, and our data offering solutions in the, I would say, the data platform and BI platform. And Microsoft uses SharePoint as our middle tier business server, meaning it handles all the collaboration, workflow, content management, scorecarding, all those niceness. And usually I want our users to use the Microsoft Office client as their productivity tool. And what we have done is we have integrated reporting services into SharePoint as a report or using a report as part of their dashboard experience. And what it means is that if you try to build reporting service, a reporting solution using reporting services in SharePoint, you get all of the niceness regarding content management, collaboration between the users, as well as the workflow capability of SharePoint, and you can build an end-to-end solution within SharePoint using a shell that the users know about and are familiar with. So that's why it is cool. Just quickly about our 3,000 feet architectural diagram on how our SharePoint integration work. So the blue thing is SharePoint web front end. The gray thing is our report server. SharePoint uses their SharePoint content databases to display their data. Our report server uses our catalog database to basically to find out when we schedule things, and normally we also store the report definition inside our catalog database. To integrate with SharePoint, we actually added a SharePoint integration security extension, a data management tier module as well. And what it does is we require the SharePoint object model be installed on the report server. So then our security extension actually talks to SharePoint to make sure that the SharePoint user has basically the correct permission to a certain object. And the data management here also talks through this path to actually figuring out what are the RDLs that an end user have published onto SharePoint. And the data management will also talk to the catalog database to figure out the scheduling and the subscriptions on the reports. And what we have done on the SharePoint box is we have added a report viewer web part that has the SharePoint look and feel. It's there since 2005, but we have a new updated version for SharePoint 2010. It has a management UI, which I will be showing really briefly. And then, and also the SharePoint machine talks through the reporting services web service using an SSRS proxy that runs on the SharePoint box. A few things is we can cache, we have done preloaded cache, we added an R2 on shared data sets and reports. And what it means is we let people cache data per reports and per shared data sets, and and what it means is it improves the performance of report queries overall. And I want to show you really quickly about some of the management UI, just very quickly, because I only have about 10 minutes left, and I need to get into the development side because I can't walk off the stage without writing code. So just very quickly, back into SharePoint. Let me go look at a report. For example, this one. In the context menu, you can actually manage subscriptions to reports, because sometimes when you have a report, you want it to be delivered through email to many different users, let's say at midnight. That's where you do it. You can also manage the data sources at the same place. Let's say the connection strings change and you want to change it. It's right here. We can also change the processing option. You can make the report cache. You can actually create a cache there, or you can create a snapshot there for a report. So all those are there. And and what it means is if you basically develop a solution using reporting services in SharePoint integrated mode, your information worker can do their report management end-to-end within an environment that they are very familiar with in context. All right. Next thing is just on the programmability side, because we're all developers here, we have added a new web service endpoint, centralized one for managing, for report management. Everything that you've seen in the report parts demo that I've seen earlier on, it can be done through the centralized web management interface. And also we have an AJAX-enabled report viewer web part. It's not as programmable as the standalone control that we ship in Visual Studio that I will be demoing next. But if you want to just use it as part of your solution within a dashboard, or use it as it without much customization, that's pretty cool, because it has the SharePoint look and feel to it. All right. Just quickly, wanting to jump to the delivery end. So first thing is, we have added the Atom renderer in this release. What this means is I have a report. I can just hit the Atom feed button on the UI in the report viewer, and anybody who can consume Atom feed can actually consume that feed. And it can also launch Power Pivot, and Power Pivot will be able to use any existing reports as data source. Next thing is rendering enhancement. So what we have done in the past years, we have improved our browser compatibility a lot. We've done a lot of bug fixes in the standard mode compliance area. And so Firefox is almost at feature parity with IE. There are only two things that are missing is zooming as well as client prints, which is, which you already have to work around. And then the other thing is we have added an enhancement to do renderer-specific outputs, and you'll be able to export to basically export a different look for Excel versus your interactive rendering format, for example. And we have also added support so that you have control on how you name your Excel workbook, the worksheets within the workbook. So just quickly jump over to a demo that I want to use view a report within Firefox, and then I want to export it to Excel. launching Firefox. Oops. And then I have the report bookmarked. First thing is the product catalog report. You're inside Firefox, and this is for real. I'm rendering the product catalog reports in Firefox with the document map that wasn't there before. Yay! And also, we've added the search capability here. And what you see is when I'm searching for the next string, although I do pop up a spinny, like it's not as jumpy. Oops, I should have hit next, cancel. Yes, yes, I am hitting next. Yes, basically it doesn't jump around like I used to because of our AJAX enhancement. The next thing is, let me switch to the other report. So it's the good old AdventureWorks report, right? And let me go say, well, export it to Excel. Yes, let me save it. And let me open it up in Excel 2010 real quick. Yes, so as you can see, it actually looks different from the report that I showed earlier on because we actually use the global renderer name variable to decide like which data region to export to Excel, and we have actually created a specific table format to export to Excel that doesn't have like all the collapse expand like interactivity features in there. And if you have noticed, the Excel worksheets are actually named properly. We have accessory on one tab that's named accessory, bike is on a different tab that is named bike. Yay! All right, so let me go through the report viewer control really quickly. So we talk about like we have done AJAX improvement in the next version of the report viewer control. As a gentleman asked earlier on, the free the runtime is a free redistributable, and it also targets .NET Framework 3.5, so it works within Visual Studio 2008 as well. Some key features, we have added the SQL Server 2008 based local mode engine for processing. And we have support for AJAX, meaning like things are done in update panels now. The interactivity, as you have seen earlier, is flicker-free. When we do the search, like we don't jump around anymore. I will show you a quick demo with some code in just a bit. And then the next thing is like the scroll position is also maintained like between interactivity. As you can see, like in the previous demo, that when I searched the bike keyword, like it didn't jump around. And there is no more frames. Async and synchronous mode does not like change how it looks anymore. So cool things. And better browser compatibility. I just shown you in Firefox that it works now. And just want to skip ahead because many of you are very familiar with the architecture. Some additional changes. We have extended some APIs to, for example, we have an event that intercepts the parameters. I showed you the last PDC is still there. We will rename it, but the event is still there. And we actually make sure that we complete the API to enable you to write your own custom toolbar. And also like some printing and printer setting changes. And we have added a client-side JavaScript API to let you manipulate most of the toolbar functionality on the client. I'll be showing you a quick demo using basically exporting to Excel in just a bit, exporting to Word using my own code. And then we have basically a comprehensive list of events and properties in the client-side API, like for example, like errors, report loading events, loading completed events. Lastly, we have fixed the multi-value parameter resize issue. And yep. There are some requirements, though. Unfortunately, the 2010 control does not support SQL Server 2005 as in remote mode. For those of you who are interested, I can tell you the details. I will be at the track launch after this. And it uses AJAX for the ASP.NET AJAX control, and either 3.5 SP1 or 4.0 will be required. Just quickly, some AJAX demos. All right, I have pre-launched Visual Studio. What I want to show you is a report that I've already pre-built because we are running out of time. Because otherwise I will be showing it from scratch. So as it's loading, like the report that has been basically the application that has been built before, it has a report that is within the ASP.NET page. And what I've added is actually my own export to Word button. Come on. So what you see on the page here is we have script manager, and then I have my own button. I will show you the code in just a bit, and then I have a report viewer controller and span to a server report that I've created ahead of time. And let me just run it really, really quickly. All right, so what you see here is the report viewer control and the regular company sales report. And the key thing is if I've added my own button, and usually I can go to the UI and say export to, oops, and export to Word, for example. But I'm using my own button and click here and go, and then I can save the reports in Word format. Yes. And I can open it in Word. As I'm doing that, I want to show you the code. Come on. All right, good. So the button that I've implemented, what we have done, OK, oops, let me do the live zoom again. Dangerous, but I need to do it. So I have button 1, and the value is my export. And what I did is I called the ASP.NET to find the report viewer control object on the client side. And then there is a public API that we expose on the client-side library and call export reports. And I passed it the parameter of Word because I want to export to the Word format. And that's all I need. And it's very, very, very simple code that allows you to actually implement some of the toolbar functionality in your own code and in your own customized toolbar. OK. Another example that I want to quickly show is a report that I built earlier on. So what you see here in the design view is I actually have 2 viewers, and one bound to a report, and the other one that's bound to is drill-through reports of the same the viewer. And why don't I run it in IE really quickly? What you see is first, the first report like, will come up as a map report. And whoops, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry, we have to set up.
All right, so anyways, I can actually show you that HS demo like at the track launch after this. And to sum it up, like we have done a lot of improvement in the SQL Server R2 release, and to help you actually build better reporting solutions. Thank you very much for coming.
Sorry, I had to
I'm sorry.